Good evening. I am Anitra Steele, Chair of the Forums Committee. Welcome to our forum for the North Kansas City School Board. This forum is sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Kansas City, Jackson, Clay, and Platte counties, and co-sponsored by the North Kansas City PTA Council, an Alpha Kappa Alpha Advocate for Social Justice initiative of chapters Beta Omega and Psi Tau Omega. This forum will be recorded and is available on the League's webpage, lwvkc.org, and YouTube. The League of Women Voters is a trusted grassroots, nonpartisan organization whose members do the hands-on work to safeguard democracy. While we neither endorse or oppose candidates or political parties, we are directly involved in sharing the important issues. Our mission is to empower voters and to defend our democracy. We envision a democracy where every citizen has the knowledge, the right, the desire, and the confidence to participate. Our membership is open to everyone. I'd like you to know the other League members volunteering with me. Stephanie Revels will be our timekeeper, and our Zoom is monitored by Lenny Constance. The public has sent in the questions via the League's website, lwvkc.org. Tonight, we welcome our moderator, Janice Comer. But first, we will hear from Jason Russell with a statement about his candidacy. Thank you, Jason.
I wanted to provide an update regarding my candidacy for the Board of Education. While my name will remain on the ballot, I am encouraging voters to support the two incumbents in this election. When I filed to run, I did so because I cared deeply about our schools, our students, and the future of our district. However, as the race developed and it became clear that the only candidates would be myself and the two current board members, I made the decision that the right thing to do would be to support their continued service. Both incumbents bring valuable experience and have worked hard on behalf of our students and community. I believe stability and experience on the board are important, and I do not want to see either of them lose the opportunity to continue serving our district. I am extremely grateful for all the encouragement and support that I have received from so many parents, students, teachers, and residents. Your support means a great deal to me, and it has strengthened my commitment to staying involved and advocating for our schools. If a seat becomes available in the future, I fully intend to run again and hope to earn the opportunity to serve our community at that time. So thank you for all your support and encouragement, and get out there and vote. I'm going to vote for these two ladies, so everybody else should too.
Thank you so much, Jason. I'm Janice Comer, your moderator. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here with you tonight and for you joining us this evening. I am delighted to moderate the Candidates Forum for the North Kansas City School Board. The Board of Education is a volunteer representative body elected by the registered voters of the local public school district. The board governs the school district and provides leadership and advocacy for public education. School boards make decisions in the best interest of the entire district, and they serve a 3-year term. Tonight, we will hear from the two candidates running for the school board. Forums will last until all of the questions have been asked, and I will ask each candidate the same question, but alternate the candidates to have the first choice at the particular questions. These questions came to us from the public. Each candidate will be given 90 seconds to respond to their question and 2 minutes for a closing statement. All of the candidates running for these seats have been invited, and we welcome the candidates' participation in the forum. Candidates, please answer the questions asked and stick to the topic. There will be no rebuttals, but you may go back to an issue during your 2-minute closing remark. Let us begin. Hold on just a minute. Okay, I am going to give the first question to Carrie. And I would like for you to please introduce yourself and give us your qualifications to serve on the school board, especially your experience managing large budgets.
Okay. Well, my name is Carrie Gleason Miller. I am running for my third term on the school board. And the last 6 years that I've been on the board have been some of the most divisive in school board history. And throughout that time, throughout my service, I've remained a bridge builder, maintaining positive relationships with my colleagues. And I truly believe that professional collaboration is the core of effective governance and really the only way to deliver results for our students. My career is in legal operations, so I manage complex systems and large scale efficiency. And I bring this same rigor to our multi-million dollar school budget. I have 3 children, 2 graduates of the district, and 1 4th grader who is currently in the district. So I bring experience as a former board member, a parent, and a professional. And I'm committed to being a balanced, collaborative voice that keeps our district focused on excellence.
Thank you so much. Now, Laura, you have the same question. I'll read it again. Please introduce yourself and give us your qualifications to serve on the school board, especially your experience managing large budgets.
Understood. Thank you, Ms. Comer. My name is Laura Wagner, and I work at HNTV downtown. So I apologize if you hear sirens randomly or a streetcar go by, because that's part of downtown. I have worked on many large projects, and so have managed some large budgets as part of that. Highway and infrastructure is what HNTV does most, and so those are multi-million dollar projects. I had worked with the labor unions previously, and our budget when I was LESA director for the laborers union in Missouri and Kansas was well over $1 million. I had the privilege of, before I served for the last 3 years on the North Kansas City School Board, I had worked with the Education Foundation for the North Kansas City schools, and they have a multi-million dollar budget as well. So that would be my budget experience. Otherwise, it's just been an absolute joy to serve on the North Kansas City School Board and with Carrie and with the rest of our board members. It's the work that we do right now is very important. And Carrie's right. There's been a great deal of difficulty, and there's a lot coming down from the state level now when it comes to attacking our budgets. So having that first and foremost in mind as we move forward is very important. And I'm grateful someone asked the question. Thank you.
All right, you also have the second question. What do you think is the biggest challenge facing the North Kansas City School District, and how would you propose to address it?
I think the budget is probably going to be one of the most difficult things. Whether it's the county and the property tax freeze in Clay County and Platte County that we're looking at, it's going to be a reduction in our budget overall. At the state level, doing away with the state income tax has become a great concern because that's going to impact so many organizations, but certainly school districts. And so right now, budgeting is first and foremost. Now, whether that means we have more students coming in with open enrollment rules, whether it means we're trying to figure out transportation because of the rising cost of gas, there's a number of things that are impacting our school district. So being the budget is probably first and foremost this year. There are going to be other things as we move forward, but that's going to be the biggest challenge for everyone.
Thank you. Carrie, same question. What do you see as the biggest challenge facing the North Kansas City School District, and how would you propose to address it?
I mean, similar to what Laura was saying, I mean, there's no question that our budget is going to be the biggest hurdle that we have in the coming years. And, I just want to be completely candid about where I'm coming from. Most of my perspective on the issues that we're facing is really shaped by frustration and the lack of support that public education receives from our state legislature. Our particular district is very lucky to have local legislators who champion our schools and truly get it, but they can't carry the weight of the entire state on their own. And it's incredibly frustrating to face obstacles created by legislators who are miles away from our community and who don't see the impact of their decisions on our classrooms. So, as we face the budget hurdles that are coming our way, I mean, we have to work together to ensure that we are transparent with the public and that we are looking at our finances in a different way, that we are being very we are scrutinizing our spend and that we are making sure that the taxpayers' money are going to the most important thing that we do, and that is in our classrooms and to our students.
Thank you. Carrie, you get the third question. Recent events in the district have caused patrons to wonder if their tax dollars are subject to proper oversight. What can the district do to win back trust and to assure that audits will be filed on time and expenses will be monitored for legitimacy?
So, certainly that's a very good question. And, we have experienced some recent hurdles that we've had to overcome, but we have jumped so quickly to solving the problem. And I really do have to give our district leadership credit. Once the issue that's at hand was detected, we took swift action. The employee was terminated. We have worked with law enforcement. We have started to overhaul our entire procurement process. So essentially, I think the most important thing that we have done and the most exciting thing that we have done, also considering the budget hurdles that we're going to be facing, is that we have created a new position within the school district that is the Assistant Superintendent of Finance. And we have elevated the fiscal oversight to the highest level of leadership in North Kansas City schools. And it's really about executive accountability and leadership. And we have an incoming assistant superintendent of finance that we are very excited about. And so I think that we have certainly started a very exciting chapter in North Kansas City schools.
Thank you. Laura, would you like for me to read the question again?
I'm always open to it, so
I'll read it
it's up
again.
to you.
Recent events in the district have caused patrons to wonder if their tax dollars are subject to proper oversight. What can the district do to win back trust and to assure that audits will be filed on time and expenses will be monitored for legitimacy?
Thank you. Carrie has touched on a lot of the changes that have been made, but I think one of the first things that the district leadership did that I thought was very important was communicate with the public that this is taking place. The audit was taking place at the same time, so the communication was both to the auditor about the things that were discovered, and it was to the public about the things that were taking place. So that kind of transparency and communication are very important. I think that that's going to continue. We're going to see increased transparency as we move forward because there's a recognition at the leadership level that trust was violated. These are taxpayer dollars. They have an awareness of that. Everybody had the wool pulled over their eyes. There were reasons, but then as soon as there was an awareness that there were shenanigans, then then changes were made. There's changes to the policy overall on how things are approved. There's changes at the leadership level on the auditing. And there's also going to be some additional changes with contracting going forward. So I think the district is doing everything they can. It's still a large organization, and things happen in a large organization when you have a lot of employees there. It's just difficult generally, but they're trying very hard to be open to communicating every change with the public so that they know that they can be trusted. The district can be trusted.
Okay, thank you so much. You get the next question. How should we approach artificial intelligence and emerging technologies in the classroom?
That is a great question because it is not to be avoided. AI is everywhere and it's part of everything we do. And if you do a search, then AI pops up as part of the comprehensive answer. If you buy shoes online, AI helps you find those. You can't not touch AI. So it's important that I've had the privilege of going through some training with AI in schools, and the best analogy I can come up with is it's like a bandsaw in shop class. It's a tool, but there's some danger there, and you have to put up some safety parameters and some guardrails in order to teach students how to use it. And that's just going to be true. I think that it's necessary to learn it. I think it's part of things that we're doing going forward. Any kiddo who wants to graduate and get a job is probably going to touch AI at some point in their lives. And so training them on how to use it properly makes sense. There's still a lot going on. Within our school district, they have set up some parameters so that you can actively use AI as a learning tool, but it is closed system within our district so that they can't share information outside, and it's a safer environment, but there's still a lot there that needs to be refined, and we're going to continue to learn and adapt as we go forward.
Thank you. Carrie, same question. How should we approach artificial intelligence and emerging technologies in the classroom?
Well, I get very excited about AI. I know that there are many, there are needs that we need to address in order to ensure that it's done correctly and that we have guardrails that are in place to ensure that our students are protected and using AI in the most safe environment. But I really see AI like as an evolution in technology and an evolution in education. And if we don't embrace it and if we don't teach our students how to use it properly, then we are really doing a disservice to our community and to our students. I know in my job, every conversation we have is about AI. How are we using it? How are we protecting our data? How are we, what policies are in place to ensure that it's being used correctly? And that's in my job in the real world. And that's imperative that we communicate that to our students as well. I mean, they have to be able to graduate with the same tools that all of the rest of society is using, and we are. It's the natural, it's the evolution of what's happening right now in our society. And so we have an opportunity right now to make sure that our children and our students learn it correctly, and that our teachers take the opportunity to use it to their advantage as well.
Thank you. Next question. Carrie, how will you advocate for our students who are extremely high achievers and need more challenging classes and opportunities, such as higher level classes with smaller class size?
I am very proud of our district and what we've been able to accomplish for our students who need more attention because of their elevated educational needs, right? I mean, our SAGE program is amazing. Our facilities for our SAGE students are top notch. We have programs that even go beyond our gifted programs for children who are even beyond gifted. So we have programs that are in place and that just keep getting better every single year. so that our students are getting what they need across all spectrums, right? I mean, we have the most diverse district in the state, and so is that goes all the way from our smartest students all the way down to our students who need different kinds of help. So, ensuring that our programs are all in place so that we have an equitable learning opportunity for all of our students is really something that I'm very proud that the North Kansas City School District has made a priority.
Thank you. Laura, how will you advocate for our students who are extremely high achievers and need more challenging classes and opportunities, such as higher level classes with smaller class sizes?
I would advocate strongly for them. That's how I would do it. I mean, everything that Carrie said is correct. Our SAGE program is top notch. Our PEGS program, which is the step above SAGE, is top notch. And those generally tend to be smaller classes. I think I know what the individual who asked the question is getting to. I know that at a class level, we offered some advanced mathematics and some other courses at one time in the individual high schools and middle schools. And it's difficult because while those are generally smaller classes and very beneficial, I know that sometimes if the class becomes too small or too highly specialized, it's difficult to say that it makes sense to continue to have it in the individual schools. And so it's a balance. And I know that there's a desire both to have smaller classrooms for a lot of people who want that, both teachers and students and parents as well. But to be able to have those programs where we can have the kids with other kids who are like-minded, who are in programs where they can touch on more than just advanced mathematics. Maybe it's also science and other STEM initiatives, whatever we can do to try to help all of our students. That's our job, is to be a champion for all students. And so that means students who are in great need. That means students who are very advanced. It's any kind of student. We want to be able to do that across the board. So my time's up, but thank you.
All right. Well, stick with me. You get the next question. What effect will open enrollment have on the North Kansas City School District? With open enrollments, students who live in a different district can transfer to North Kansas City and bring the money which supports them with them. What effect will that have on your district?
We anticipate, based on the students who try to come in now who are outside of our district and have reasons why they want to join us, that we're going to see an increase with open enrollment. The challenge with open enrollment is that it's difficult to know how many kids we might get and to plan accordingly. And transportation is the other very difficult part of that, because regardless of where they live, we need to be able to ensure transportation for them. And that can be very challenging if we have kids who are far flung or who aren't grouped together. When they're in a district, we can plan for that a little bit more, but we have a significant number of buses that we send out now, and we're in a 5-tier system, and we run those all day, whether it's for before school programs, after school programs. It's just going to be a little bit more challenging to be able to address that. But I anticipate that it's going to increase enrollment for our district because we're doing a good job and people know it.
Thank you. Carrie, same question. What effects will open enrollment have on the North Kansas City School District? With open enrollment, students who live in one district can transfer to a different district and bring the money that supports them with them to North Kansas City. What effect do you think that will have, Carrie?
I'm more concerned about the money leaving North Kansas City. I mean, I think that, or really any district, to be honest with you. I mean, I firmly oppose any policy that diverts public tax dollars to unaccountable institutions. I think that universal open enrollment in particular threatens the stability of our neighborhoods. It turns school districts into competitors rather than community anchors. I believe that we should not be subsidizing systems that can handpick their students while bypassing the transparency we require of our public school districts. So I firmly oppose open enrollment.
What effect do you think it will have on the North Kansas City School District?
I think that it will, as Laura said, I mean, we will not necessarily be able to plan for students that are coming to us, but I also think that there's a real risk that the money would leave North Kansas City schools. I think that it turns districts. I think it would turn our district into a competitor rather than an anchor, and I really truly believe that.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Science, history, current events, and culture are constantly evolving. How can schools help students learn to become independent thinkers?
Is that me this time?
No, it's still with Carrie.
With me, I'm sorry. Um, you know, I think that schools. So North Kansas City School District, we have a portrait of a graduate. That's like, we have our competencies of a portrait of a graduate. And throughout all of those competencies, whether that be accountability, integrity, compassion, don't put me on the spot for all of the competencies, but all of the ways in which a student learns factually and socially, those are all ways in which they evolve on their own terms. Our teachers have such amazing relationships with our students. Our school resource officers, our staff, our paraprofessionals, the relationships that our students are able to make with our staff and our teachers, in addition to the competencies they learn through our Portrait of a Graduate, in addition to the academics that they receive and the ways in which that they learn academically, all of that combined really creates unique learning opportunities and allows our students to grow and become the people that they are destined to be.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, Laura, science, history, current events, and culture are constantly evolving. How can schools help students learn to become independent thinkers?
Certainly. I think that Carrie touching on the Portrait of a Graduate model that is used in every single one of our schools in North Kansas City is a good start. I mean, that is baked into a lot of the teaching that is occurring in all of our schools right now. The other really excellent opportunity is all of the partnership we have with local businesses. And that's more true at the high school level. So we have a Pathways program where kids are enrolled in different career pathways, and they have opportunities to ask questions of guest speakers in the pathway that they want to be in. They have job shadowing opportunities, internship opportunities, mentoring opportunities. And so they get to ask the questions to try to discover what they want to be and how that might work for them. And I think that critical thinking piece, and I'm just going to call it critical thinking, independent thinking is to me about the same thing. That is going to happen more so at the middle school and high school levels. And I think that we've given our kids a lot of opportunities to do that, both with the Pathways program. A lot of our teachers, encourage that kind of open thinking. And weirdly, I think AI helps a lot with that, because you have to be a critical thinker in order to ask the questions and to dig deeper into some of those subject matters and topics, because you have to question what AI is doing. And it forces you a little bit to ask why, why do you think that? How did you come up with that answer? And then maybe rephrase it and maybe try to get a little bit more to what you are looking for. So
Okay, thank
my
you.
time's up. Thanks.
Okay, stay with me though, because you get the next question. Recently, a middle school student brought a gun and ammunition into a school building. Thankfully, no one was physically harmed. But what should the district learn from this incident?
That is a difficult and great question. I think a lot of the things that we had in place allowed for the reporting of the incidents, the investigation of the incidents, and the response to the incident, I think, was handled well. In a difficult situation, I think that we did the best that we could. Obviously, because you have a minor included in the entire circumstance, their parents need to be brought in, and sometimes that takes a little bit longer than people are comfortable with. But I really believe that the CSO and the sheriff's department and the other folks who are part of those services really did a good job, considering how difficult this particular situation was. So I don't know what we can learn. We can learn that some parents maybe need more one-to-one conversations. We can learn a lot of things from this. I don't know how to stop kids from having access to guns going forward. I would like to stop kids from having access to guns going forward, but I don't know the best way to approach that. I think what we did and some of the things that we had in place worked. Obviously, we're going to continue to review that situation and see if we can fine tune things, but it's difficult. I know parents didn't always feel like they had all the information right in that moment, but not all of it was available to share.
Thank you. Carrie, you have that same question. Let me read it again.
Okay.
Recently, a middle school student brought a gun and ammunition into a school building. Thankfully, no one was physically harmed. But what should the district learn from this incident?
Well, I do think that our policies were followed, our processes were followed, but even when our policies were followed and our processes were followed, we still had families, we still had parents, we still had students who were scared, and we still had students who and families who felt like maybe those processes and those policies weren't enough. So I think one thing that really, I appreciated, we had parents come and talk to us at our meetings, and I really appreciated the communication that they had with us because it was very respectful and it was very sincere and it was very genuine and they were very vulnerable and brave in showing us their vulnerability. So I think, as a district where we're champion for students and for families, we need to take into consideration those words that we heard from our parents. And even though we can justify our policies and justify our processes and say that we did it, we need to really listen to them and think, okay, well, what, you know, what can we do to be safer? We need to make our students feel safe. We need to make our families. So I think this was a communications situation. I think we could be better about communicating, and we've talked about that. But our policies were followed and our processes were followed as well.
Thank you. All right, you get the next question. Some legislators in Jeff City are talking about standardizing school board terms to 4 years, requiring candidates to list their political party, and changing the elections from April to November. What are your thoughts on these proposed changes?
Do you really want to know my thoughts? Because I'm going to tell you my thoughts. It's ridiculous. I don't understand why. I think that there are some politicians who feel like the more divisive, the more divided, the more politically divided we are, the more power there becomes in that political arena. I don't know. But I can tell you right now that political agendas and political divisiveness have no place whatsoever in school boards, in school board decisions. It's the most important part about being a school board member is that you do not have a political agenda. We are doing this for the students. We are doing it for the families. We are in this for the right reasons. And by changing the political landscape so that we would be voting in November, the whole reason to do that would be to make it more of a political race. There is no reason. It is super detrimental. It's horribly detrimental. And there's no place for it whatsoever. I think that there's probably an agenda there to take away local control as well. It's ridiculous and it's offensive. So that's my
Thank you.
feelings on the
I
subject
appreciate
matter.
that. Laura, same question. Some legislators in Jefferson City are talking about standardizing school board terms to 4 years, requiring candidates list their political party, and changing the elections from April to November. What do you think about these proposed changes?
I understand Carrie's feelings. I will definitely say, when it comes to changing the elections from April to November, if it saves taxpayer money and more people turn out, that's fine. That's fine. Term limits are complicated in the sense that I don't think that they're very effective at the state level, so I'm not sure that they're all that effective at any level. But the Republican Democrat Party affiliations or whatever party affiliations there are, I think that's a horrible idea. For the same reason that if you're in another local office, like the city council or something like that, when Carrie and I are elected to serve, we're elected to serve the people in our district. And the people in our district look like a lot of different kinds of people. So there are going to be lots of different political parties. People have different feelings about things. And Carrie and I listen to all of them. We hear them out because that's our job. That's what we're there to do. And so if we had a party affiliation, people would assume a lot of things about us and they wouldn't even talk to us. And it would be very divisive, as she mentioned. So I agree. I think that there's some things there that may make sense, and then there's a whole lot of there that doesn't make sense. So that's my final take.
All right, you get the next question. Please tell us about a teacher who inspired your interest in supporting our schools.
There have been a lot of teachers who've inspired my interest in supporting our schools. We have some amazing teachers who care very deeply about our district. And when I served on the Education Foundation for the North Kansas City School District, I had the privilege of reading a lot of grant applications and teachers who would write grants for their libraries or for their classrooms and all of the different really creative, thoughtful approaches that they had to try to inspire kids to learn and get them excited and engaged about topics. I mean, I love all of it. And probably the one that was the neatest was the one that impacted our entire district was when we had a major eclipse. We were in the path of totality, and that was, oh gosh, what, 5-6 years ago, when the first time we were in the path of totality. And it was so cool. And the teacher had applied to get eclipse glasses for all of the students in her school. And the district and the Education Foundation thought it was so great. They got glasses for everybody. And so then every single teacher had different things that they came out with to try to teach kids about the solar eclipse and what it means. And some of them and I'm going to run out of time. In the like grade schools had like light up beads that they could take outside. There were all these different ways to try to teach kids about a solar eclipse, and it was so cool. And that was one of my favorites. But there are tons of teachers who inspire me all the day, all the day long.
Thank you. All right, thank you. All right, Carrie, same question. Please tell us about a teacher who inspired your interest in supporting our schools.
Mrs. Lynn Weatherly, my 5th grade teacher at Chapel Hill Elementary School. She is such an amazing person, but she taught me the power of kindness. She taught me the power to use my voice for good. I remember it was between like me and this other girl, and we were like trying to be the most popular, whatever. And she pulled me aside and she said, Carrie, you are sweet and wonderful, and you have a voice, and you need to use that voice for good. You need to use that voice to bring people together and not tear people apart. And I have brought that with me in just about every aspect of my life. And most certainly, I think that is the most important thing that leaders in a school district can teach our children is that we are better when we are together. We are better when we appreciate each other for our differences. We are better when we learn from each other, and that we have a voice, and that voice needs to be used for good. So thank you, Mrs. Weatherly.
All right, thank you so much. All right, you get the next question, and this came from a student. do you believe that 2 hall passes total per student in middle school is adequate? These include nurse, office, water, bathroom, counselor, or any need outside of the classroom. So if a student needs to go do anything, that only leaves 1 pass for the restroom.
Is this me?
Yes.
I abused hall passes severely when I was in school, so I understand the frustration that teachers have with regard to students who would do anything to just get up and walk around the halls and try to find their friends and pass notes and socialize. But I also believe it's really important to make sure that those kinds of decisions are not coming from the board. I mean, those are not the decisions that we make. Those are the decisions that our teachers have to make and our school leadership has to make. And it has to be, it has to come from the right source so that it's valid and decisions are not coming. One of the most important and hardest things to learn as a board member is understanding your true role. And, we can't get into the weeds on those kinds of decision making. Otherwise, it gets really messy and really muddy and really mucky. So, even though I do understand that, there's probably questions from students and teachers in terms of, what's right or wrong as far as, the logistics of the day. But it's really important that we make sure that we leave those decisions up to the school.
Okay, thank you. Laura, same question. From a student, do you believe that 2 hall passes total per student in middle school is adequate? These include nurse, office, water, bathroom, counselor, or any need outside of the classroom. So if a student needs to go do anything, that leaves 1 pass for the restroom.
That is a consternation. And it is my understanding that Carrie Gleason Miller is the reason that there are only 2 halls. Yeah, no, I'm kidding. I understand the frustration, and unfortunately, Carrie's right. Our policies are what we do. I mean, the board policies that's the main thing that we do. However, in the spirit of the League of Women Voters, I would highly recommend that a petition be circulated at the school, and you get everybody to sign it that feels like there need to be more hall passes, and you take it forward and see if you can't get some action going at the school so that you at the grassroots level as a student can say, we would like a change. And these are all the students on this list that would like that change. And we want to see what can happen if we come forward as one voice. So I think that there's power in the voters. And I think that when you can make that list and bring it forward, you might be able to make change in your school at where you are now. So that would be my recommendation.
All right, thank you. Next question. How will you collaborate with your board peers, both inside and outside of meetings, especially those with whom you do not agree?
I think at this point, I just make fun of Carrie for being the reason that hall passes are so limited. I am very, very lucky and blessed on the board on which I serve. I think that we have a pretty good rapport with one another. While we don't always agree on everything, we have those conversations before the meetings. We have those conversations offline. And so we're always together as a unified front when we vote. We have a policy in place that the board president is the one who responds to public inquiries. And it's worked out well. So when we don't agree, generally, we're able to have those conversations off to the side, and we can certainly have civilized discussions amongst ourselves, which I know that not everyone is able to do that. And I think that we're very lucky right now to have people who understand how to communicate with one another and how to affect change in a positive way. Because our focus is always our students and our teachers. And so by having our mission statement and having, us be champions for our students, if we can rally around that, that always brings us back to the answer that we need. So we tend to find agreement in that at the end of the day.
Thank you. Carrie, same question. How will you collaborate with your board peers, both inside and outside of meetings, especially those with whom you do not agree?
Well, first of all, we definitely maintain quorum, right? We abide by the rules of quorum. So certainly, if there's communication outside of meetings, it is within the rules of quorum. So um, we don't meet as a board outside of our meetings, but certainly, we can meet one-on-one or honestly, we have such a great relationship with each other and it's very respectful. It is, when you come onto the board, our president, like I said, I've been on the board for 6 years and it's been very clearly communicated to all of our new board members that we respect each other and that we uphold the standards that we expect our students to abide by. And so it's just a matter of like I said, like I started this conversation out with, is that respecting each other is the core of effective governance, and we just abide by that, and it works out, and we have a great board.
Okay, all right. Last question. Carrie, what question do you wish I had asked, and how would you have answered it?
I wish you would have asked about our initiatives for teacher retention and recruitment, because we are working very hard to have an environment that teachers want to come to. We are working very hard to put in place initiatives like our Grow Your Own pipeline, where we have students who are interested in being teachers, and we provide them mentorship and we provide them with tools that would encourage them to go into the profession and then encourage them to come back to our district. And, one reason why I want this question to be asked is because no matter how hard we work to get teachers to come to us and stay with us, no matter how hard we work to build this house, if our state does whatever it can to take away the bricks from that foundation, there's only so much that we can do. So we have to have support from our legislators. We have to have funding from the state. We have to have a Jefferson City that supports public education and understands the ramifications of some of these bills that are going through.
Thank you so much. Laura, same question. What question do you wish I had asked, and how would you have answered it?
I wish you had asked how the League of Women Voters could get more involved in public schools. And I would say, please come talk to our students. Please mentor. Please visit our schools, talk about what you do, talk about the importance of voting, the importance of registering to vote, and be there for our kiddos. Teach them the way. Because we need to bring up citizens who understand that their vote counts, that voting matters, that every election matters, and that there are consequences to not voting. So it would be good to have the League of Women Voters more involved. Everybody asks what we're doing to teach, civics, and it would be great to have some very specific answers to those questions.
Thank you. Candidates, it is now time for your 2-minute closing remarks. I want to personally thank you for joining us And I want to apologize for dropping my papers at the beginning. In addition, we'd like to ask that you share the league's website with voters and encourage all citizens to show up on each election day and exercise their right to vote. Now, for our candidate closing remarks. Laura, you may begin your closing remarks.
Ms. Comer, thank you for letting us be here tonight. Thank you for hosting these. This is very important work, and I'm grateful that we had a chance, that Carrie and I had a chance to take questions from people who wanted to know more about us. This has been a privilege, and I'm grateful to have served for the last 3 years. I'm grateful to serve with such great people. And I really feel like we're making a difference, maybe not a big difference, not like the teachers do in kids' lives because they're there every single day, but I want to believe that we're trying to find every opportunity for our students, and we're trying to make those opportunities available for everyone. So this has been a privilege, and I'm looking forward to serving for another 3 years if the voters allow. Thank you.
Thank you. Carrie, you may begin your closing remarks.
Well, thank you so much for having me on tonight. I truly, truly enjoy being on the Board of Education. I feel like, no, I know that the foundation of our political system starts at the lowest rung of our political structure, and school boards are the foundation of what we do. We have such an opportunity to build, to create human beings who are going to be successful and happy and productive. We have such an opportunity to create teachers that love what they do and want to do more. The profession is the most important profession that we have, and we have such an opportunity to ensure that it goes on. So I take my position on the school board incredibly seriously and very much to heart, because there are so many opportunities to do good. And then there are so many opportunities if a wrong person gets on a board, if they are on a board to promote political agendas and it's not their top agenda is not 100% what is best for our students, then it can go south very quickly, because it's a very much a trickle down effect with regard to our leadership in our schools. We just have an opportunity to set the tone, make important decisions, create a community that we can be proud of. And so I'm just feel very privileged to be part of that system and to be on the Board of Education. I love it very much. I love this district. I love all my board members. I just appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Carrie and Laura, for being candidates. Now I'm going to turn things back over to Anitra.
Thank you, audience, for your interest in the April 7th election. A recording of this forum will be available on the League's website, lwvkc.org. Please take a moment to share this forum and all our forums with your neighbors on Nextdoor and other social media channels. And remember, for voting and candidate information, visit lwvkc.org and vote411.org. Thank you. Good night.